Happy Tuesday, everyone. I hope that you guys are doing well today. You should be now watching our video. So we're going to get into our lesson today. Just a reminder that you are going to have homework tonight. I'll put it at the end of the video. And our test will be Thursday. I will also remind you of that at the end of this lesson. So, yeah, just a couple of reminders there with that. So, okay, let's just jump right into this today. Okay, so if you remember where we left off yesterday, Joseph had just interpreted the Pharaoh's dreams, and he had predicted that there will be 7 years of plenty and then 7 years of famine. And he says that you need to have someone who will build up the rations and be able to distribute the food, okay? And then remember that the Pharaoh puts Joseph in charge, okay? So Joseph becomes the head of Egypt just below the Pharaoh. Okay, and then remember yesterday when we finished class, the last thing that I talked to you about was how at some point now, the brothers of Joseph are going to have to travel to Egypt to find food due to the famine. So that's where we are today. All right, we're in the first journey to Egypt. So we're on page, I believe it's page 58, okay, in your book. So you can follow along. You can split screen probably and follow along with the story here. So do remember that we are talking now at least 10 years since Joseph has left Canaan. Because if you think about it, he was about 17 when he was kidnapped or sold. And then he spends at least 2 years in jail. And now we've seen at least 7 years of plenty. Okay. So, we're at least 10 years since he left Egypt. Since he left to Egypt. So we see here in verse 42, when Jacob learned that grain rations were for sale in Egypt, he said to his sons, "Why do you keep looking at one another?" He went on, "I hear that grain is for sale in Egypt. Go down there and buy some for us that we may stay alive and not die." So 10 of Joseph's brothers went down to buy grain from Egypt. So now if you look in this, did you know here? Okay. I have it right here. Let me, there we go. Okay, so there are only 10 brothers. The brother that doesn't go is Benjamin. And why doesn't Benjamin go? So Jacob's 12th son was special to him because he was born during his old age. Also, Rachel, and I did mention this in class, Rachel dies in childbirth with Benjamin. So, that's his favorite wife, his true love. Now he's already lost Joseph, all right, to death as he thinks. And now he's not going to in any way allow to lose Benjamin. So he does not allow Benjamin to go with them. Okay. So now when they arrive, they journey to Egypt, and they know that they have to go to this person who is in charge of all of the food. Well, that person is Joseph, but they don't know that. They don't know it's Joseph. So if you look at verse 6, it says here, Joseph, as governor of the country, was the one who sold grain to all the people of the land. When Joseph's brothers came, they bowed down to him with their faces to the ground. He recognized them as soon as he saw them, but he concealed his own identity and spoke harshly to them. And then it says, when Joseph recognized his brothers, although they did not recognize him, he was reminded of the dream he had about them. So remember that dream he had, that they bowed down to him. Well, hello, that's what just happened. Okay, so yes, the dream is fulfilled. But now they don't recognize Joseph. And if you look over here, this is actually on the next page. So this is on page 60 over here. It says here, how do his brothers not recognize him? So there's a couple of reasons. First of all, we're talking at least 10 years later. So Joseph's probably aged a little bit, from the age of 18 to 28. It's a big jump, okay? That's one thing. Another reason would be, as it says here, Joseph as vizier, as it was called, of Egypt, would have been very ornately dressed. He would have had an Egyptian headdress. He would have had an Egyptian outfit on. So he would not have looked anything like what they were used to. Not to mention that he probably would have had very thick eye makeup. That was very common for Egyptian royalty to wear. So he would probably not have looked anything like their brother Joseph. And also, it would have been terrible etiquette to look in the eyes of someone higher than you in social standing. So Joseph was the second most powerful man in the world after Pharaoh, so they should not even be looking at him. Nor did he probably speak Hebrew to them. He was probably speaking, or maybe to them he does, but when they first see him, he's probably speaking Egyptian, okay? So there's a lot here that they do not recognize who he is. And when he sees them, he accuses them of being spies. He says, "You're spies," and they said, "Oh, absolutely not. We're here. We're the son of the same man. We're here to get grain. We're not spies." And he says, "No, you absolutely are spies." And if you look in verse 15, he says, "This is how you shall be tested. You will not leave here unless your youngest brother comes." Because they said, we're the son of, we're the 10 sons of our father and one is still behind. So he says, well, you're not going to leave here until I, you bring this younger brother. So I'm going to have you send one of your brothers while the rest of you stay here. But what he does actually at that point is he locks them up and he puts them in jail for 3 days. Notice again that number 3, like we talked about yesterday. And while they are in jail, he actually has, they have terrible dreams recounting what they've done to their brother. And it's almost kind of shocking to them because they hadn't really thought about their brother in a while, but yet they remember their cruelty to him. So now on the 3rd day, he changes his mind a little bit. So he changes it up. So he says, rather than me keeping all of you here and sending one back, I am going to keep one of you here and send the rest of you back to go get your youngest brother. All right, so take your grain, but you must come back and bring your youngest brother if you want to get this brother that we're going to keep. So what he winds up doing is he takes Simeon and locks up Simeon. And if you look here in verse 24, when he says this to them, okay, you're going to go back, you're going to get your youngest brother. The brothers are all kind of talking and they're like, this is because of what we did to Joseph. Look at what we did. And now we're being punished for something we didn't do. And in verse 24, it says here that, but turning away from them, he wept. When he was able to speak to them again, he took Simeon, like I said, from among them and bound him before their eyes. Then Joseph gave orders to have their containers filled with grain. But not only grain, but he also gives them all their money back. And after this has been done for them, they then leave. Well, when they get home now, imagine this. They come back, and they come back without Simeon. So basically, Jacob's worst nightmare of losing another child has happened again. And he says, what are you people doing to me? Are you trying to make me childless? You lost another son of mine. And they say to him, well, Father, we have to go back. We have to bring Benjamin, though, to get back Simeon. And I always kind of feel bad here for this. Jacob basically is like, no, just leave him there. Now, Reuben does come to his brother's defense and does say, Dad, let me bring Benjamin. And if I don't bring back Benjamin, well, then you can kill my sons. And Jacob wants none of that. Okay, so Jacob is just like, nope, sorry, Benjamin's not going. Simeon is staying. And oh, by the way, when they open up their bags, they see that all their money has been replaced. So now Jacob also thinks that they've stolen all this money. So he is just absolutely angered by his sons. All right. They lose Joseph. He dies as far as he's concerned. They leave Simeon, and now they look like thieves is what they look like. So he is like, absolutely not. You are not going back. Okay, so that's what we are there. So now let's go to our next section. Here we go, section 23. Okay, so now here with section 23, the famine continues, and they use up all of the grain that they have. So now Jacob, and I think this is so funny here too, it's like he forgot what the deal was. So he's like, go back and get more food. We're out of food. Can you go back and get more? But now Judah is like, Dad, we can't go back unless we bring Benjamin. Don't you remember? Like, there's a crazy man in Egypt that has Simeon in jail. And we can't go back unless we bring Benjamin, or else we are going to all be thrown in prison again. So then in verse 8, we see that Judah urges Jacob. He says, let the boy go with me, that we may be off and on our way, and if you and we and our children are to keep from starving to death. I myself will serve as a guarantee for him. You can hold me responsible for him. If I fail to bring him back and set him before you, I will bear the blame for you forever. Now notice the difference there. Reuben was willing to sacrifice his own sons, but yet here Judah is actually willing to sacrifice himself. That's going to be important, so just keep that in the back of your mind. So he finally does agree, and he agrees to let them take Benjamin. And then he also says to them, bring your payment for your new grain, but bring the payment for the grain that you stole, even though they keep telling him that they didn't steal it. But he's like, bring back double. That way the crazy man in Egypt doesn't kill you. So they go back and they bring Benjamin. And when they get there, they see Joseph. And if you look here at verse 16, when Joseph saw them and Benjamin, he told his steward, take the men into the house and have an animal slaughtered and prepare, for they will dine with me at noon. So when he sees them this time, he's so excited, and he throws them a banquet. And he says, when they're like, we didn't steal this money, here it is. And he's like, oh, relax. God must have put it in you, put that money in for you. It must have been a gift. And here is Simeon and stay, and we're going to have a party. And they're all confused. They're like, what happened to this bipolar guy here? One day he's looking to kill us, and now he's having a party for us. And, they have this great party, and they have this great feast. And at the feast, the whole time, Benjamin's portion is 5 times larger as anyone else's. Now, you have to remember that Benjamin is his full brother, and Benjamin was probably a baby when Joseph left. So he hasn't seen him in forever. And it's a beautiful encounter here that nobody knows is happening other than Joseph, but it is happening. Okay, so then let's go to section 24. So we're not going to do all of section 24, but we are going to start it. So then Joseph tells them, okay, it's time to go. Like, the party's over. You can take Simeon, you can take Benjamin. But what he does is he has one last trick or trap for them. And that is here. And he says to his steward, fill the men's bag with as much food as they can carry, and put each man's money in the mouth of his bag. So again, he's returning the money. But also, in the youngest one, put his silver goblet. Okay, so the steward does as Joseph said, but he's the only one that knows. So at daybreak, they all leave. And shortly after then, he calls in his other stewards and says, oh my gosh, they stole from me. Go get them. So they go out and they encounter them, and they say, you have stolen from Joseph, not that they call him Joseph, but from him. And they're like, no, we didn't. There's no way that we did. Check the money, check the bags. So one by one, from oldest to youngest, they dump out the bags. And so the final bag that is dumped out is Benjamin's. And in it, is all this money in all of their bags and this silver cup. And they are like, Benjamin, what did you do? And he's like, I didn't do anything. But now they are brought back to Egypt, and they are going to be brought back, and they are going to face Joseph head on. And it is going to be here that he is going to tell them who he is. But we're going to save that for tomorrow. We're not going to do that here. I want to save that. Okay. And then what we'll also do tomorrow is we'll just do a review of this. I have like a note worksheet that we will review to go over this. So this is where we're going to stop for today. So finale of today. So what you are going to do now for the rest of class is you are going to do the following. You have assignments 22, 23, and 24 to complete for homework, okay? That's going to be homework tonight. Then tomorrow, like I said, we'll finish up this section. Don't forget that we have our test Thursday, okay? And that'll be on patriarchs. We'll go over tomorrow exactly what's on it. We'll finish up this story. We'll finish up the truth revealed, and then we'll, go over what is going to be on the test. All right, so right now, you should have finished the video, and you should have answered the questions along the way as I was teaching. And then what you are going to do is work now on assignments 22, 23, and 24. Link them all as one. Don't submit them as three. Link them all as one, okay? Excuse me. Okay, so go ahead, do that now, and I will see you guys tomorrow. All right, guys, have a great day. Bye.